Derek O'Brien, quizmaster and author, makes it clear he's not appearing as a Trinamool Congress leader tonight. Thank you. Ms. Indira Jaising, great to have you on the program. Derek O'Brien is being joined by Shobhaa, author and columnist. Sankarshan Thakur is joining us this evening. Kavita Srivastava, thank you very much. Rahul Singh there on the bottom right of your screen is a senior journalist. He has been associated with Tehelka in the past. We make that disclosure. And Aishwarya Bhati is an advocate on record in the Supreme Court. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I begin by asking you here, Shobhaa, question goes out to you. There's an attempt by some people to call it sexual harassment. This is not harassment. This is not harassment, is it?
Certainly not.
This is not misconduct.
Certainly not, Arnab. And I'm glad that not at all. And I'm so happy that Indira Jaising has put it into perspective. Let's call it what it is. It is a crime. It's a very serious crime. He is accused of attempted rape, which it indeed sounds like, and he must face the music. So this question of trying to cover it all up and whatever he may say is self-imposed vanvas, which he's giving himself, a paid vacation and so on, is completely ludicrous. It is nonsensical to even have that in the public domain as a kind of letting himself off that easily. He has to face the law, and Shobhaa is no less guilty. I'm sorry. She is a woman. She is a mother. She heads this organization. She is covering up for her boss.
Yeah.
She is not apologizing to the victim. She is not standing by the victim. She is not standing by other women in her organization. She is letting women down, and this is a lady who projects herself as a crusader, as an activist who often has unearthed stories, injustice and so on. But when it comes to your own backyard, we see a completely different set of standards. It's unacceptable. And a mere apology from Tarun, which it isn't even that, is simply not enough.
No, who is Tarun to give an apology here? You know, Tarun lacks any ground to be giving an apology here, and the fact of the matter is, I go across to Derek O'Brien next, that what happened in this case is, and I'll go with the logic presented right here. I like Indira Jaising said, I'm not going into the lurid details of this incident. Only suffice to say, and I can say this with certainty to all our viewers, that if any of you had access to what exactly had happened on those days of the 7th and 8th of November 2013, then what Mr. Tarun Tejpal did is far below disgusting. And Tarun Tejpal cannot just say, I'm going to atone for it or lacerate myself and use that kind of language. Because what he did, Derek O'Brien, is that he, after, there were 2 attempts at sexual assault. And after the first attempt at sexual assault, when she's pushed back, when she pushes him back and when she objects, he says, and I'm only putting this part, he says, and I quote, "This is the easiest way for you to keep your job." So here is a person who attempts rape and then tells his victim, this is the easiest way for you to keep your job. I don't know today, Derek, that why some sections of the media are being so careful and cagey with what they reveal about the manner in which this man, Tarun Tejpal, has carried out this act and what he did after that. But what is your take, Derek?
Yeah. I won't go into the details of the case because I think Shobhaa, right at the top of your program just now, made those points about this case. So that's, let's take that as read. But Arnab, I think what you just said, you used a quote. I think the bigger picture there is that people, men especially, sometimes women, but mostly men, in positions of power, and to me, that's the big issue. Men, mostly men in positions of power, want to use that power to exploit or to demand sexual favors. I think that is the biggest problem here. That is the biggest problem here. And after all this, and that's what upset me more in the morning, that first one is bad enough, and then this sanctimonious letters, that makes it even worse. And I think this is where we have to give a lot of credit, I believe, to the social media. Because the real buzz, there was an attempted closure maybe last night.
I agree with you.
But the way the social media, the way the social media exploded, and I can tell you, I've been talking to guest coordinators of television channels today, and when you've asked some of your guests to come, they've either said they've gone to Singapore, or they are busy in Delhi, or they've gone
Oh
to the
yes, well said. I'm glad you said that tonight, Derek.
This is the
Let's
time.
speak openly tonight. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Derek. 100%. I want to back what you said because
this is the time. This is the time where Lutyens Delhi cozy
closes in on himself.
Has to get out of that cozy club.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I like what Shobhaa they said. You have to, if something's happening in your own backyard. Now listen, one more point, Arnab. You know, forget about this case because I think this is one case. I don't mean forget about it, but
no, we'll go into details of this case.
Here's the story. Here's the story. A 58-year-old uncle molests an 18-year-old girl. Now what happens? The aunt comes along and says, hey uncle, you did a very bad thing. You can't enter my house for the next 1 year. After 1 year you come. It's a family, I mean, this is not some family issue. This is, and actually, you know, Arnab, why I'm so passionate about this, besides the fact that I have an 18-year-old daughter, I myself was molested on a Calcutta bus when I was 13. I didn't talk about it till way after I got married. Because, you know, I think so more girls, more men, more girls, whoever, if this happens to you, you have to come out and shame the guys who do it.
You know, this is...
I was actually molested on a bus.
Well, I'm glad you're speaking up, Derek.
You know, I was on a bus in South Calcutta after a tennis game, coaching. I was in short pants. I was a boy of 12 or 13, and there is a man in the bus who, I didn't know what was going on, but when I got off the bus, I mean, he had ejaculated on my shorts. And it took me 12, 13 years to keep that in me. And I have two brothers who I couldn't tell. When I grew up, I was 25, 26, I started talking about this incident. So I think we have laws, we have committees of Vishakha committee, that all that is very important. But you need more girls like that woman in the lift who stood up.
You know, first of all, Derek, I thank you for sharing that experience. It's difficult, what you've been through, and to talk about it. I'm glad you're talking about it. I'm prefacing this tonight that we are all human beings talking to each other. We're not politicians at any point, you know, representing institutions.
No.
You know, no. I find the hypocrisy shocking, Sankarshan. For me, the worst thing in all of this, one is the fact that these are journalists who should know. Journalists know the exact provisions of Indian Penal Code, section 375, the circumstances under which a man is said to commit rape. And if these journalists and these editors don't know, then they should not be doing the job. But I want to read out a little part about what Shobhaa Chaudhary writes, which you know, throws this incident up as so totally hypocritical. Shobhaa Chaudhary writes on the 9th of January 2013, Sankarshan. She writes, rape is the most underreported crime in India. Listen to this. And beneath that courses a whole other universe of violence that's not even acknowledged. It's not just the psychopathic men in a rogue white bus who can be rapists. Listen to this, Derek. It's fathers, husbands, brothers, uncles, friends. And 1 in every 2 women would have a story. Perhaps told, perhaps untold, of being groped, molested, or raped in the confines of their own homes. And listen to this, Sankarshan. This is what Shobhaa Chaudhary writes 8-9 months back. She writes, if they dare speak of it at all, they are told to bury and bear it. Take it as part of life. What hypocrisy. And then today, when Shobhaa Chaudhary is asked, why do you call this, why do you let this man decide his own punishment? Then she says, you know, are you an aggrieved party? She says to the journalist, Sankarshan, are you an aggrieved party? What do you think?
Well, Arnab, you know, this is a deeply distressing and very, very angry moment for me, not least because I edited Tehelka for the first 5 years since it became the magazine.
Yes.
And I know of some very, very good, hard-working, talented journalists on the floor who are still very shocked, stigmatized. So that's a separate story, not least because the victim at one point played in my lap as a toddler years and years ago. But the way that Tehelka, Tarun and Shobhaa have decided to process their reaction is nothing short of astounding. I mean, it just astounds me. Tehelka has led with the torch all the way, and for Shobhaa, for me to see Shobhaa today asking the media, are you the aggrieved party?
Oh God.
I mean, does the media go out seeking questions only because it's an aggrieved party? We don't need literature at this moment.
Well
All
said.
we need is justice done for an invasive violation. A crime has happened, that crime has not been contested, it has only met with, 2 or 3 sheets of prose. I'm sorry. What am I to say? What am I to say?
Speak up, Sankarshan. This is the time for the media to speak up.
I mean, what is one to say? This is the most shameful kind of conduct that we have seen on display.
Arnab, there is much to be said, and it
media,
has to
you
be
constantly
said.
ask me, you constantly ask people to come out and face questions.
Yes.
You constantly ask people to come out and face charges.
Yeah.
And here you are asking the media, are you the aggrieved party? Are you the aggrieved party?
Yeah.
That's shocking. This kind of cover up, and I know.
And you know what she says. You know what she says. This hypocrisy. She says, are you the aggrieved party? One second. And she says, and then she says, it's not a case, sir, unless you know more than I do. Rahul Singh.
Oh my God.
She says it's not a case, sir, unless you know more than what I do. And it's there. It's there on the screen.
Arnab, let me also say this.
Yes,
Arnab,
let me complete this. Just let me complete this. I also know, and I'm very, very disturbed and upset to hear of the efforts over the last 2 days or 3 days on the Tehelka edit floor to fix this, somehow fix this. Bury it under the carpet. This cannot be done. Inexcusable, unpardonable action has to come.
And I'd say this, Sankarshan, this is the time to really speak up. One feels strongly when there are allegations of corruption, and some of them with some evidence or whatever behind them against media, but when there is action, when there is action of moral depravity like this, and Shobhaa Chaudhary says, Chaudhary says covering up for Tehelka.
Why should there be this impression?
Yeah, we don't need literature. You can do away with literature.
Why should be this impression that the media is removed? It is some moral entity which is above the law, on the side of the law. We are part of the same
we are the media.
I said we.
Let there be a new media in this country, Sankarshan, that applies stricter standards to itself than it does to the people who it judges, and then it will win the respect of the people. And one second, Rahul Singh has raised his hand a couple of times. I want to tell our viewers what Shobhaa Chaudhary says in her email is that this is an untoward incident. Rahul Singh, untoward incident?
Arnab.
And Shensi goes on to say,
Arnab.
though he has extended an unconditional apology to the colleague involved. In other words, an unconditional apology ought to be enough, but Mr. Tarun Tejpal is going one step forward, and because, he's a generous man, he's offering to recuse himself for 6 months and come straight back after that. Rahul Singh, what's going on? And also, you've been involved with Tehelka, maybe you can tell our viewers about that in the beginning.
No, Arnab, let me correct you. I have never been associated with Tehelka, but somebody mentioned, I think Derek O'Brien, about the greater picture. The greater picture is being lost here. The greater picture is that Tehelka has done a great public service for this country. We must remember that not so long ago, when there was a certain government in power, they did a sting operation which showed that the president of a certain party was
that's not even the issue tonight, Mr. Rahul Singh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Rahul Singh, but with great respect to your seniority, I'd like to say this. This has absolutely nothing. And if Tehelka has carried out the sting operation exposing Bangaru Lakshman, that's zero argument, Mr. Rahul Singh. in the context of this particular case. No, there is no bigger picture. There's the case of attempted rape. That's the bigger picture.
Exactly. Exactly. And the language that's being used is a language of arrogance, not remorse.
Absolutely.
It's compounding. It's adding insult to injury.
I don't defend Tarun Tejpal over what's happened. All I'm saying is don't destroy an institution.
But that's not even a concern tonight. I'm sorry, Mr. Rahul Singh. 1 second.
Yeah. Other than the actions.
Yes, Sankarshan.
I'm saying nobody is destroying that institution. The people who are destroying the institution is the person who built it. I mean, I'm not destroying Tehelka.
Exactly.
I have great fondness for the kind of work they have done in the past. I am not responsible for destroying Tehelka. And my heart goes out to all the hard-working, talented journalists who are still on the Tehelka floor and who will take this stigma because Tehelka and Tarun are virtually the same thing. He's so identified with the name.